What I want to talk about today is something that I know a lot of people and see a lot of people that I know doing, which is worrying about the future and not worrying about or just living in the present, basically. There's a ton of people I know who worry about the past, who worry about the future, who can be working on the present. And there's a lot of people who will sit here and say, well, it doesn't affect me if I do that. It actually does affect you quite a bit. So let me give you an example. Back in 2014 or so, I was worrying about how YouTube would affect me in the long run of my life. That means I was worrying about the future. I was worrying a lot about it basically every single day, and eventually at some point around 2015-ish, after I'd met my now fiance, then girlfriend, I just realized, hey, let me live in the present. Let me live in the moment of what's going on. And ever since I've been doing that, it's really honestly lifted a huge weight off my shoulders. It's really made stress easier to deal with. It really helps with my the mentality and how it affects my mental and stuff like that. And it just really helps overall. So the ability to be able to, like, I know people, I can relate this to gaming, people that I know who game, they sit here and they constantly worry about what's going to happen later in the game. Don't worry about what's happening later in the game, worry about now. Because you can see so many people who worry about what's going to happen later in the game as they're facing a boss or something, and in doing that, they mess themselves up and wind up losing the battle. So there's different things like that. So in life, and I'm not saying about the past, because the past, there could be a lot of hard things that happen in people's life, but the past is the past. Okay, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't change the past, unfortunately. There are some hard times that people do go through in their past that they don't really want to let go of, and that's understandable. But as far as worrying about the future and worrying about the past, it puts a lot of mental strain on you. And in doing that, it affects you. And you may not see it, but constantly worrying about the future affects how you do now, which also affects your future. And I know that sounds a little bit confusing, so let me explain it a little bit better. So basically, you're sitting here constantly worrying about how your future is, right? Well, in you worrying about how much your future is, you're taking up more time for you to be able to do better stuff for yourself by worrying about stuff. And by worrying about stuff, it brings you down a lot more. And by it bringing you down a lot more, what winds up happening is you don't want to do the things that you would normally want to do a lot more. So by doing that, then you get depressed. So, or you just don't want to do it. That's simply it, without even depressed. So what happens is when you stop worrying about the future and you live in the present and you deal with, okay, I have to deal with this in the present, this is what I have to deal with, it affects your future for the better, because you're not sitting here constantly thinking about, oh, I'm worrying about this, I'm worrying about that. That means that you can concentrate on your present right now, the present right now, which can in turn affect your future for the better without you even thinking about it. You see what I'm saying here? So when it comes down to it, another good example would be like, I constantly worried about meeting somebody I would be able to love and constantly spend the rest of my life with. Would I ever get out of the house that I was in? I'll just be doing YouTube the rest of my life and gaming. And then I met my now fiance, then girlfriend, and it just ever since then I've been living in the present, and it's really, really comforting and relaxing to know that and understand that. And it really helps me a lot get through stuff. I don't stress out as much as I did before. I don't instantly panic, things like that. So guys, when it comes down to it, try not to stress about the future too much. I'm not saying don't stress at all, just don't let it completely take you over, because if you do, it could put a lot of mental strain on you. It could affect your present right now, which could then affect your future, and it could affect how you work, how you do things, different things like that. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.